deeds. Therefore, how can we not be constantly cautious of our every action and be fearful of the consequences they might evoke? But there is more to it. As long as a person still has one breath left, then he has the chance to repent of the most serious mistakes and offenses. If a person can have an overwhelming and courageous kind thought at the most important moment, then it can cleanse away hundreds of years of accumulated sins. This is just like how only one lamp is necessary to bring light into a valley that has been dark for 1,000 years. Sit. Besides, we are living in a tumultuous and constantly changing world. Our body, being made of flesh and blood, is extremely perishable. If our next breath does not come, then this body will no longer be part of us. By then, even if we did want to reform, we would not have the chance to do so. Therefore, when you commit evil, your retribution in the physical world is a bad reputation and name which will last for hundreds and thousands of years. Even filial children and loving grandchildren cannot cleanse your name for you. Whereas in your afterlife, you might end up in hell suffering immeasurable pain. Even Buddhas and Bodhisattvas cannot save you. So how can one not be fearful?
Father, is there any other way?
Yes, there is. The third way is one must have determination and courage. A person who hesitates to reform his faults is one who really does not want to change, but is content with what he can get away with. His willpower may not be strong enough, making him afraid to change his wrongdoings. A minor fault is like a thorn sticking into our flesh and should be quickly removed. A big fault is like a finger bitten by a poisonous snake. We must cut off that finger without hesitation to prevent the poison from spreading and taking our life. There are also 3 methods of practice in helping us reform. First is changing through action, second is changing through reasoning, and third is changing from the heart. Since the methods vary, so do the results of change. For example, if I killed living beings in the past, I now vow not to kill again starting today. If I was angry and yelled at others in the past, I vow not to get angry starting today. This is how a person changes through action. However, this is merely suppressing yourself not to do something, and it is difficult to achieve the objective of getting rid of your faults permanently. A more ideal method is changing through reasoning. In the case of killing animals, one can think thus: loving all living things is a virtue of heaven. All living things love life and are afraid to die. How can I be at peace with myself by taking another's life to nurture my own? We should know that the way to healthiness lies in the utilization of our energy and not delicacies. We can be nourished just as well by consuming vegetarian food. Why let your stomach become a graveyard? If you think about it, you will naturally feel sorry for these animals and be unable to swallow their flesh. The same holds true for changing one's bad temper. One should think of the fact that everyone is not the same and has his or her individual strengths and weaknesses, and as such, we should understand and accommodate one another. If someone offends me for no reason at all, then it is his problem, and that has nothing to do with me. There is no reason for me to get angry. Therefore, no benefit, but rather harm is derived from killing animals and getting angry. There are other faults and offenses we can change along the same lines. If we can understand the reasoning behind the need to reform, we will not make the same mistake twice. Though a person's fault can amount to thousands of different types, they all stem from thoughts of the mind. Tianqi, come here. If your heart is rooted in vices such as desire, fame, profits, or anger, you don't have to find ways to get rid of each fault. All you need is a sincere, kind heart and the willingness to practice kind deeds. As long as your heart is virtuous and kind, then naturally your mind will not generate any improper thoughts. All mistakes stem from the heart. Therefore, one should change from the heart. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
If we are willing to cultivate our hearts, then it is possible to purify our thoughts right away. This is because wrongdoings originate from the heart. Purifying the heart can erase all improper and bad thoughts before they are carried out in action. The best way is by cultivating the heart and understanding the reason behind the need to change. The alternative way is forcing ourselves not to commit the wrongdoing again. Sometimes all three methods have to be used to succeed at reforming a fault. During the spring-autumn period, there was a senior government official in Wei named Bo Yu-chu. When he was 20, he was already mindful of his past faults. He studied his mistakes and tried to correct them thoroughly. At the age of 21, he felt he still had not completely corrected all his faults. When he was 22, he felt as if 21 was spent dreamily without practical improvement. Thus, year after year, he continued to correct his faults. When he reached 50, Bo Yu still felt that the past 49 years were full of wrongdoings. This was how particular our ancestors were regarding the correction of faults. We are all just common people, and our mistakes are as numerous as the spines on a porcupine. Often, when we look back, we do not even see our own faults. This is because we are careless and do not know how to reflect on our own actions. There are also indications when people have accumulated too many offenses and sins. For instance, one's heart may feel confused and oppressed, lacking energy and spirit. One becomes extremely forgetful, full of worries, and feels embarrassed and depressed upon meeting a virtuous gentleman. One becomes displeased at hearing righteous reasoning, and when showing kindness to others is in turn treated with hostility. One will constantly have nightmares where everything is upside down and will talk incoherently and behave abnormally. These are the symptoms of those who have accumulated too many sins and offenses.
Father, what should we do when faced with this situation?
If you have any of the above symptoms, you should immediately gather your willpower and reform all faults. It is necessary to form a new life for yourself. I hope you will not delay. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Father.